All right, so here's some video from our lesson. We got a big process ahead of us here for the winter, trying to get a bit of a different power source, if you could say that. Mostly, as you mentioned, trying to make sure that the driver gets more consistent. So our operation or our idea here is we're going to call this Operation Driver Radius, because that was kind of what we talked about. The rate at which the radius of your swing reaches max is too fast, and we're going to slow that down a little bit. So let's take a look a little bit here on the left-hand side of the screen. I'll slowly bring it back. This was after we had talked a little bit about trying to give you the sensation of getting, well, more weight on your back foot, more turn into a right side, if we can just use those terms. So the one thing we talked about was your angles. We talked about the knees, we talked about the hips, and we talked about the shoulders. And ideally what we're looking to do in this backswing is feel as though that all four of those red lines point more down. So we're hoping to get I'll back it up just a little bit here for us to see. So we've got the shoulder line is now pointing more down. We're trying to feel that right hip higher than the left hip, so that line goes down, and then this back leg is straightened, while the front knee is not only bent, but it's moved in a little bit, and that knee's come down. So all of those angles have come down a little bit, and I want to give you the sensation this winter that what you can work on at home is making this position here on the left and feel as though that you can lift up this front leg without changing any of that structure. So anything on the left of this has to stay the same, as you feel like you can just lift this foot up a few inches off the ground and hold it, just like a yoga pose. So that's what we're looking to do on the backswing. Now the downswing stuff, we talked about three things on the left side to start the downswing. So the three things that we're working on are trying to feel that this left knee not only stays low, but it goes out, that this shoulder not only stays low, but it goes out, and this hand stays high as it lets out the wrist angle. So we've talked about left knee, left shoulder, left wrist, and what we're looking for here on this side is that the knee goes out. We can see this one going out, creating some space between your legs. Gets this leg into a bit of a different position for you. But what we're also working on is trying to feel as though that this lead shoulder stays down longer. And if it can stay down longer, as you start the downswing, we're going to be able to get a little bit more control of what we're doing here, because the last piece is trying to feel that this orange line, actually let me get a different color, the radius of our swing being left shoulder through left wrist all the way into the hosel of the club, we're trying to get that a little bit longer, a little bit earlier, and try to feel like we can maintain the radius of those a little bit longer in the swing. Because if we looked at it the way that you were doing it, we've got the angle stays a little too bent, a little too long. And what that does into delivery, it gives you a downward strike. It doesn't hit the center of the sweet spot a lot. It goes really low, and then that arm gets a little bit longer later on. So we're trying to get more like the purple, less like the green. And let me show you one of the great moves that you made. Let's see this one. We'll look here on the right side. So we've got the left knee going out, the left shoulder staying low, and feeling like the left wrist lets this out a little bit. And our feeling here, the words that we used, was it was trying to feel like this angle was just a little wider than 90 at this stage. Because from there, what we're working on is trying to feel all the way through this swing that you can get all the way to your finish. And our finish position feels our knees together, and then the shoulder is right there in front of the chin. And I think that when we can accomplish those things, we've got our rhythm of 1 being the backswing, 2 being this move right here, and 3 being the power source into the ball. And I think that when we can get these pieces together, it's going to make a big difference in your driver game, which is our goal from now till for the next 2 months. So let me know what you think.